In this video, I'm going to be talking about the Slenderman. Is it fact or fiction? In this video, I will be discussing the legends of the so-called Slenderman, where children supposedly disappeared throughout the ages, the origins, where these photos that people believe are the Slenderman came from, and stories that are used to, well, I'm not going to spoil the video, but were used to scare people. So, here we go. Oh, and before we get started, I want to apologize for my voice, background noises, and mispronunciation. I don't have any editing software, but I wanted to make this video anyway. And everything I talk about in this video, links will be in the description to go check them out. Also, I am not saying everything I talk about is true. That is for you to decide. This painting is called Der Ritter. In German, that means the knight. This painting was supposed to be made in the late 1600s by Hans Frankenberg, who supposedly disappeared, but this painting was later found in a Scottish castle during the late 1800s. Actually, this photo you're looking at right now was photoshopped from an original photo. This is the original photo. If you look at the two, there's a leg right there, and there's a thing right there. Look at this. Those two, I guess, just come off the chest plate. There's not an extra arm right there. That's supposed to be the sleeve to his sword. On June 10th, 2009, Paranormal Pictures had a contest on the Something Awful forums to see who can make the scariest photo. A contestant by the name of Victor Surge posted these two photos right here. What you're looking at right now is the actual pose made by Victor Surge, who made these photos back in 2009, June 10th at 1:07 p.m. These are his stories that are supposed to go along with the photos. We didn't want to go. We didn't want to kill them. But its persistent silence and outstretched arms horrified and confronted us at the same time. 1983. Photographer unknown, presumed dead. One of the two recovered photos from the Sterling City Library blaze, notable for being taken the day which 14 children vanished and for what is referred to as the Slenderman. Deformities cited as filmed effects by officials. Fire at library occurred 1 week later. Actual photograph confiscated as evidence. 1986. Photographer Mary Thomas, missing since June 13th, 1986. So as you can see, those two photos are fake. This is the actual Something Awful forums from 2009, which these photos first appeared on the internet. Here's the next thing I want to talk about. It is from www.unexplainedmysteries.com. This is about the person who made this post is apparently a girl or a boy, I don't know, who believes in the Slenderman, and this thing caught my eye because I actually have the book that she's talking about. She's talking about a book called Ghost Stories from the American South, and I actually have it in my hand right near here if you don't hear it. And apparently in the 7th section of the book, let me go look at that, Other Supernatural Creatures, there is a story that is supposedly is the Slenderman, which honestly, that's a lie. That story is not in the book. I have looked through that section many times and it is not in there. Basically what they're talking about is about like in the early 1900s, a cousin went to go live with a family who saw the Slenderman and their little sister disappeared. And that's basically how the story goes. If you want to go on and read it, I will have the link in the description. Everything I talk about will be in the description below. The next thing I'm on is Slenderman in mythology and culture. I got this from the website, the SlendermanWikia.com/ a bunch of other stuff. It pretty much is going through, it goes through Asia, Europe, East Europe to North America of stories that are supposedly linked to the Slenderman are supposed to be kidnapped, who supposedly kidnapped children. In Europe, it talks about how fairies were supposedly kidnapping children. Germany, the Der Ritter thing, the De Grossman, Schonkwald, Vadenwood, and Hans Baldwin painting. In British, it talks about Feardilla, the Clunchbone, the Faceless One. Eastern Europe, the Tall Man. I'm not sure if Russia is the name, but whatever. North America, the Bundle, Swamp Legends, all this stuff. In North America, actually, I read this in this description. It says that they would tell kids not to run away in the forest because there would be spiders out there who would kidnap you if you run away or disobey your parents. Another thing I want to talk about is the Marble Hornets. This is what I've been wanting to talk about mostly is because I actually used to watch these all the time when they'd come out with a new episode, and I actually thought these are real because they looked real to me when I first started watching them. And for all those of you who actually believe Marble Hornets is a real documentary about a guy who's actually being followed by a real Slenderman, sorry to bust your bubble, but it is fake. I'll prove it to you right now. What you're looking at right now is an interview with supposed Alex, Jay, and Tim from Marble Hornets. Their real names are Joseph DeLarge, Troy Wagner, and Tim Sutton, which I'm reading this out of their description right now. And in this interview, they're talking about why they made Marble Hornets and how they first got started. And if you want to go watch the interview, the link will obviously be in the description. Now I just want to share some legends with you. Back on the SlendermanWikia.com, I'm going to be reading a couple stories. The first one is the Fear Dubba. It's spelled D-U-B-H. Sorry for anyone who actually knows how to pronounce it. I don't. So the Fear Dub, or otherwise known as the Black Man, is a rare Scottish legend concerning a malevolent entity that haunts footpaths and forests at night. In ancient times, it is used to be connected to the Christian devil, but most of its characteristics are closer to that of a primitive Slenderman. It was used to scare small children to stay indoors and keep pesky children from snooping in the woods without their families. The Clutchbone. The Clutchbone was a 7-foot monster, stories of whom date back as early as the 1800s in northern England. Described as being black in color with leathery skin, its head consisted of a lit torch with a large raised collar of material resembling a rawhide. The exceptionally violent nature of the Clutchbone included alleged disappearances, destruction by burning, and the dismemberment of alleged victims. Lastly, violent events featuring the Clutchbone often followed previous sightings of a lightning ball created by severe weather conditions, leading some to assume that such as a creature might arrive into the dimension or world by way of these natural phenomena. This is one that caught my eye. The Faceless One is a lullaby that dates back to the 18th century Wales. It was created by parents as a way of scaring their children into being obedient, and to warn them away from their forests. As children often disappeared in the night and were found in the forest, mutilated often beyond recognition. I'm not going to sing the lullaby as to my lack of singing talent, but I will read it. Hush thy child, do not stray from the path, or the Faceless One shall steal you away to fairyland. He preys on sinful and defiant souls, and lurks within the woods. He has hands of ebony branches, and touch as soft as silk. Fear the Faceless One, thy child, for he shall take you to a dark place, and what shall become of thou, no one knows, so be good. Thy little one, alas, he is here to take thou away. The next thing I want to talk about is the so-called Slenderman symbol. It is a circle with an X through it. I read somewhere that this symbol is supposed to mean that the circle is his face and the X means without, or without a face. Honestly, there is no origins of this. Apparently, people say that it just came from Marble Hornets, but as far as like paintings or legends to scare children, no, it came from nowhere, and that it's just nothing. So what do I think it is? I think the Slenderman is just a story to scare away children, and within the past 10 years it's got so blown out of hand that people are making up these stories and stuff of a tall guy with octopus hands who wears a suit abducting children, where supposedly it comes from stories to keep children in the house without wandering off. Honestly, I believe it's just a legend that was so corrupted from time, and it's nothing to worry about. It is 100% fake,